Joe Rogan has heard everything. He sat across from whistleblowers, deep state insiders, and people who've seen things most of us can't imagine. But there was this one moment, one guest, who sat down and started naming names. Not just rumors, but every single person Diddy allegedly sacrificed to claw his way to the top of the food chain. And for the first time in over 2,000 episodes, Rogan could not find a single word to say back. He just sat there, not one word. And by the time you're done with this story, you're going to understand exactly why that silence was the loudest thing ever recorded on that show. See, Joe Rogan has covered the darkest corners of humanity. We're talking about stories that make your stomach drop. But the Diddy case, it keeps pulling him back like a magnetic force. Every time he thinks he's finally seen the full picture, a new piece of the puzzle drops, and he keeps noticing the same pattern. The same circles, the same shadow, just different names. Rogan recently went off about Diddy and those infamous oil parties with teenagers. He didn't hold back, saying he wanted to beat up their dad, but noted something much more sinister than just bad behavior. He described it as a weird, cultish slow crawl, where they creep you closer and closer to the edge until you realize you're surrounded by famous people, massive wealth, and a golden carrot at the end of a very sharp stick. But coming from a guy who's interviewed everyone from Elon Musk to CIA operatives, Rogan calling this situation disturbing, disgusting, and deeper than anyone thought isn't just commentary, it's a warning. He compared the secrecy to the Epstein files, pointing out how powerful district attorneys were allegedly hiding documents to protect the people on those lists. And the biggest question he's asking now, how many of the world's most powerful people were actually at those Diddy parties? This isn't just about the headlines you've already scrolled past. We're putting the puzzle pieces together in a way the mainstream media refuses to. We're talking about Katt Williams, Gene Deal, Day 26, and Terrence Howard, the people who were screaming about this before the rest of the world even had a clue. And here's the wildest part. The people who were the loudest got called crazy. They were dismissed. Their phones stopped ringing overnight. But today, every single insane thing they said is being confirmed in federal indictments. On the JRE, Rogan and Andrew Schultz broke open a theory that changes the entire game. They weren't just talking about what Diddy did, they were talking about what Diddy represented. A fixer, a tool, someone running a high-level control operation for people way above his pay grade. Not just a music mogul, but a lever of power for the elite. Rogan even started calling out the silence of the superstars, LeBron James, Ashton Kutcher, noting that at a certain point, saying nothing is a loud, clear statement. Then there's the Jamie Foxx situation. You remember that mysterious medical episode that no one could explain? Rogan addressed it head-on, suggesting that as wild as the poisoning theories sound, given the context of this investigation, nothing is off the table anymore. But while the world was distracted, Rogan did something subtle. He gave credit to the people who were right the whole time, the ones who saw the Blackmail vault coming long before the first raid. Before the arrests, before the feds, Katt Williams was standing in the middle of the room with a microphone telling the truth to anyone who would listen. In that legendary Club Shay Shay interview, Katt looked right into the camera and called 2024 the year of truth. He mentioned Diddy's name months before the handcuffs came out. Why? Because Katt saw the entrapment firsthand. He claimed he was offered $50 million 4 separate times and turned it down every single time. He knew that check didn't come for free. It was a down payment on his soul. Katt described a scene that honestly lives in people's heads rent-free. He never went into Diddy's Hollywood Hills estate, but he watched from the parking lot. He watched the shuttles bring high-profile men down from that house, and the way he described them, sad eyes, Sean John clothes, looking oily with their shoelaces undone, like something had been taken from them that they could never, ever get back. He even had a stand-up bit years ago about not being able to use baby oil because of his eczema. People laughed back then. They thought it was just a joke. Then the feds found over 1,000 bottles of baby oil in Diddy's home, and suddenly the comedy turned into a blueprint. Katt wasn't just telling jokes, he was outlining a spiritual warfare. He called Diddy a demon and warned that in Hollywood, whoever makes you is qualified to break you. If Katt Williams was watching from the outside, Gene Deal was in the car. As Diddy's personal bodyguard, Deal was embedded in that world for years. He told a story that stopped people mid-scroll. The morning of Diddy's 1999 shooting verdict, According to Deal, Diddy had his driver pull over in Central Park. Waiting there was a man in all black holding a Bible. What followed was a full-blown ritual. Diddy knelt. The man burned sage over him. Then Diddy was handed a cage with a live light bird. He was told to release it as an offering. But when Diddy threw that bird into the air, it didn't fly. It dropped to the concrete like a brick. Later that day, Diddy was acquitted, but his protege, Shine, took a 10-year prison sentence. Deal sat there and watched the whole thing unfold, realizing then that Diddy wasn't just a businessman, he was a student of a very dark playbook. Deal doesn't think Diddy was born this way. He believes he was shaped by industry mentors like Russell Simmons and Andre Harrell, who allegedly passed down tactics for controlling and soul-torturing people. Deal frames Diddy's current downfall as heavy, long-overdue karma, especially for how he treated artists like Craig Mack and Black Rob, who helped build his empire only to die in devastating circumstances while Diddy didn't even flinch. This is where it gets even darker. Meet Day 26, the R&B group from making the band 4. From the outside, they were living the dream. From the inside, it was a nightmare. Member Q alleged he received emails from Diddy that contained references to human sacrifices. He described the atmosphere as scary and weird, feeling like Diddy was literally trying to take him out. Q even detailed a specific gathering where he was handed a red pill, what he thought was ecstasy. He blacked out completely, and when he came to, he was in a deeply disturbing situation with cameras rolling. He called it what it was, a deliberate trap designed to capture blackmail material. Q was so terrified he went to his doctor and his family just to get it on the record, in case he came up missing. This wasn't a man venting about a bad contract, this was a man who feared for his life. And while the money from their success went up to the Diddy family, the members of Day 26 were left with the trauma. Finally, we have Terrence Howard. This isn't about rituals or drugs, it's about a calculated attack on a man's identity. Howard sat down in early 2025 and laid out how Diddy allegedly tried to hunt him. Diddy invited him over for acting lessons for weeks, but every time Howard showed up, there was no script, no material. Diddy would just sit there in silence and stare at him. Howard's assistant eventually whispered the truth. "I think he's trying to break you." Howard cut off contact immediately. He realized then that real success in that machine often comes with a price, your manhood. He's watched celebrities like Justin Bieber spiral and break down, and he frames it as the natural consequence of giving up your man card for fame. Howard himself paid the price for saying no. He lost deals, roles, and his reputation was shredded in the press. But as he told the world, whoever made you is qualified to break you, and he refused to let anyone but himself hold that power. Joe Rogan is talking about it now. Katt Williams called it years ago. Gene Deal was in the room. Day 26 lived it. The truth isn't just coming out, it's roaring.